It's been like 9 months since I've been on the stream, so I'm eager to get back on the mic.
Well, we'll make you feel as comfortable as we can here. We like to call it home here, and we want you to feel that way as well. And you excited to be back in the action, Red Cube?
Of course, I had a little bit of an off week last week, and unfortunately I missed some very, very good games actually. But coming into this week, the stakes are a lot higher. There's only 2 weeks left before we go into those playoffs, and looking at just the matchups today, I'm expecting more of the same from last week, and it's going to be very, very interesting. And what better way to return to it all than in a week like this?
Absolutely. I myself was not here last week as well. I was sick. I did the EU portion, and in the course of that, I started losing my voice more and more, and I've actually just kind of got back today, thankfully. But I'll probably try to talk a little less than normal, which I don't think I talk too much normally, but we'll see. I'll leave it up to you guys. You guys are the good talk.
It's better if you just don't talk as much. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Yeah, totally. I'll remember that. But no, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. What we'll do here is we'll get into the schedule for this evening, give you guys an idea of what you'll be in for. So we've got Artemis coming up against Powerhouse. That'll be our first match. That is the first seeded team going up against the 9th seeded team. Powerhouse not mathematically out of it yet, but Artemis is definitely locked in to the playoffs. Followed up by that, we'll have Outdeuced going up against Victoria's Secret, followed by 8K going up against Queen YOLO Mid, and then finally we'll have Disrupt Gaming Female going up against Slaughterhouse. And the stream that you guys won't see live this evening won't be on stream. That'll be Axios going up against Sinister Red, but you will be able to catch that on YouTube later on. Now, Red Cube, tell me, what matchup are you looking forward to most this evening?
I mean, I think one of the matchups you just always have to have circled is any matchup with Artemis. Artemis is right now the best team, and always watching the best team work is an absolute treat. And I think in Siege, there's a fine print that shows what is wrong and what is right. And in every league and in every circumstance, it's a little bit different. But right now, Artemis have completely read through all of that fine print, and they have been almost pitch perfect this entire time. And coming into a game like this against Powerhouse, which Powerhouse is a team known to almost take down the Giants. They took out DG, they took out Queen YOLO Mid, but they don't really show up in other games. This could definitely be a game where Powerhouse just randomly shows up and shuts down Artemis. I think this is going to be very, very interesting.
Well, I think what's most interesting about Powerhouse, and I don't know, Falcon, if you've gotten a chance to look at Powerhouse at all, but this seems to be a team that manages to find the cracks in other teams' armor. They're very good at doing that, and especially when Maddie Elizabeth shows up, look out. I think she dropped 20k last week, if I'm not mistaken. I was looking through that match a bit there. Unbelievable here. Is there any team or player or anything that you're looking forward to specifically, Falcon?
I mean, I've got to agree with the Red Cube here. Like Artemis, the few like I did some live review, of course, coming into this this day, and the game I watched, I think Artemis, I remember who they played. It was on Chalet. Light dropped like 17, 18 or something like that, maybe 16. But the double digits shown by, it was against Disrupt, that's right. So even better. Like they've got like the likes of Maddox, I'm correct, like Doja, right? Those two are go nuts as well in their own games. But Artemis able to shut them both down and just take, if I'm correct, it was like a 7-1. Or something. So scoreline as dominant as that against a team that was also as dominant as that. They haven't lost a game yet. That's utterly mind-blowing against all these other teams, right?
Yeah, they've been solid throughout. What we'll actually do here, if we'll just flip quickly to the overall standings so you guys get an idea of everything that we're talking about here, how all of these teams rank up against each other. We've been talking a lot about Artemis here. Of course, they're in first place. 7-0. They've had a killer season so far. I believe they're plus 22 round differential. They're followed up by Victoria's Secret in second. Third, you have Queen YOLO Mid. Fourth, you have Disrupt Gaming. Those three teams trying to hold on to their spots to make sure that they get in. In fifth, sixth, and seventh, we have Team Sinister Red, Axios Esports, and 8K Gaming. Rounding out the teams that are still in contention in 8th and 9th are Outdeuced and Powerhouse. And finally, we have Slaughterhouse in 10th, and unfortunately, they are mathematically out of the running right now to get into the playoffs. Now, there's that grouping of teams between, I'd say, the 7, 8, 9. Those are probably the toughest spots right now at the moment. If we're looking at the score lines here, those guys have a lot of, or those girls, sorry, my apologies, have a long way to go to try to climb themselves out. But if there's anything we've seen so far in North America, it's that anything's possible. Any of these teams can take a lot of jumps. The talent pool is very tight and very close together. Now, what we'll do here, we'll go through the rosters for the first match, get you guys a good look at that, get you introduced with the teams. Golden Falcon, do you have the rosters up there? Would you mind bringing us through Artemis? Talking about them a little bit?
Yes. Artemis, we've got Light, Arus, Swagman or Wolfie, and Madeline. And as I said before, Light being one of the really just standout star players of just every single roster in this league. Just a team that literally has not dropped, the only team that has not dropped a single map against the rest of these teams, and being able to do that consistently is just, that's just like, there's no words to be able to describe how monstrous of a performance overall that can be.
Consistency is definitely the word, if any word, to talk about them. Now, Red Cube, you want to run us through the Powerhouse Mischief lineup here? Oh, I believe we just have you muted at the moment. I'm not able to hear you just at the moment.
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I apologize.
there we go.
Yeah, I apologize for that. My dog was very excited about today's game, so I just want to make sure that
he should be. My apologies.
I just want to make sure nobody heard him freaking out back there. But on the side of Powerhouse, you have Lysa, Late Dragon Slayer, Maddie, Never, and then Todd. And coming into this matchup, I think something we have to look at is the fact that Artemis, yes, they're the best team in the league, and yes, I think they've almost checked off every single box that you need to check off in order to be a successful team. But the thing is, coming into this game, they don't really have to show much. They probably aren't going to be playing to their 110%, maybe not even their 70%, because they've guaranteed playoffs. So the only team actually, I think, in the standings that have 100% guaranteed playoffs. And with that, what's the point of showing strats? What's the point of showing absolutely everything? And that's probably something we're going to have to watch for. Is this going to be the Artemis that we are used to seeing maybe in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or is this going to be the Artemis that we see that is a little bit more, maybe, I wouldn't call it memeing around, but they're just a little bit more relaxed. They're not showing as much, and they're maybe relying a little bit more on gun skill. I'm expecting that to happen. You don't want to show strats in these type of situations. You have 2 weeks left of regular season. When it matters is during playoffs. So if I'm Artemis in this situation, I am the heavy favorites, but that doesn't mean I need to come into this game going absolutely 110% and giving another team information on how we play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a great point, but at the same time, these girls are competitors. Wouldn't you think, and especially you're sitting on an undefeated season, wouldn't you want to keep it that way?
Yes.
That, there's that pull to, you don't, obviously, like you said, that's smart. You don't want to give up your plays and your best plays at that, but you also don't want to give up that undefeated
that undefeated line. Yeah, it just looks pretty on the scoreboard. You never want to give that up.
And especially this, we just said at Powerhouse, if there's going to be a team that if they're not careful, they might lose that undefeated line too, this is the team. But yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the map bans are going to be ready. Going into map bans, I think the one thing everybody is expecting is Clubhouse. We've seen Clubhouse week in, week out. Saw a little bit of Cafe as well, but this is definitely going to be interesting. Falcon, what do you expect the final ban to be here? Or final
ban?
Where they're going to play?
I mean, it's hard not to say. Like, I think for 7-8 weeks straight, we've had just about a lot of clubhouses, so it's hard to not say Clubhouse. We've seen one consulate over the course of 7 weeks. We've seen one villa. Both of those were last week. So I mean, I have to say Clubhouse. I'm guessing that Artemis is comfortable in every map. This is basically what maps can Powerhouse choose to take off the docket that they don't feel comfortable on, because otherwise, I mean, Artemis can do whatever on wherever.
Yeah, and again, the same question comes up. Does Artemis really want to show anything with how exactly they want to play in certain maps? So maybe they're really good at Clubhouse and they're just kind of relying on the fact, hey, so many people also love Clubhouse, we're just going to wait till playoffs. And in this type of situation, we could easily see them go to a completely different map, as maybe something we haven't seen before, because I think last week was the very first time we saw Villa, so we could easily see something like that happen again. And But then you always just kind of get to that last thing. Clubhouse, everybody loves it. Everybody has been playing on it consistently. So I really, if I'm a betting man, I'm putting my money on Clubhouse being the map to be played, as it still is in the pool. Finally, my map bans did come up, and it actually just flashbanged me, and I apologize for that. But Clubhouse is still in the pool here. We did get rid of Coastline, Border, and Bank. So it's going to be interesting. Now, Villa is still on the parlor here. We saw Villa twice last week, if I'm not mistaken. So we could definitely see it pop in once again.
Yeah, Clubhouse is out. That's surprising. Powerhouse Mischief bunded out. So maybe, maybe like you said, instead of Artemis hiding some strats, maybe it's Powerhouse?
It definitely could be. Definitely could be. I think Powerhouse as well, there's not much they can lose in this type of situation, as when you kind of go into these types of games where you are sitting behind back just a tad bit. And actually, I apologize just to interrupt us just a bit. We do have an issue with the map bans. Coastline is actually the map they are going to be playing on. Unfortunately, for some reason, it just disappeared. There it goes. It pops up. Okay. We figured it all out. And Coastline is the map we were playing on. For us, we saw it first. You guys didn't. So we are going to be going on the map of Coastline. We apologize for the little bit of mix up there. And this is a map we haven't seen much of in CCSW. I think only maybe 4 times Coastline has been played. It's definitely not Clubhouse. That's 100% for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the freedom of playing on both these sides, it's going to be interesting to see between these two teams, because like we've harped on before, Powerhouse is the Giant Slayer. She is the David to the Goliath. And then Artemis is absolutely the monster that everyone has to worry about. And whether they can bring in a couple new players, I think Maddie is actually, is there like, what, 3rd game on the roster?
3rd game,
if I'm correct?
3rd game.
So,
3rd or 4th, actually. Something around there. Yeah.
I mean, even still, but either way, she's been dropping absolutely like spectacular numbers in terms of frags for this roster. So we'll see if she can be brought in to take down the absolute Goliaths of CCSW.
Yeah, and I think all the players have joined the lobby, so it looks like we are going to be able to hop in and get right to playing. And another thing that you could look at this is the fact that Artemis versus Powerhouse. This is a situation where Artemis has absolutely nothing to lose, and so does Powerhouse. Powerhouse has no pressure whatsoever, but they also kind of want to prove something. Like you said, they are the team that has just taken down the big names, Queen Yolomed being one of them. In my opinion, Queen Yolomed is still one of the scariest teams, and the fact that Powerhouse was able to just, I wouldn't say put them in the dirt, but just win in general is absolutely surprising. And this is a perfect situation for Powerhouse to prove this time and time again, and prove it once again that say, hey, you know what? Maybe we don't show up in these little games here and there, but when it comes to the big games against the big teams, we really can put on a show. And this is the best opportunity for it. You only have 2 weeks left. There's not too much on the line. You can really play loose, and you can play fluid, and sometimes that is when the best siege is played.
Yeah, I think it might be kind of funny, actually. Like, if they're pretty low down on the leaderboards, which is kind of unfortunate, but it'd be kind of funny if these guys just like griefed all the other teams and ended all winning streaks.
Yeah,
of all the really top teams. That would be ironic. But who knows? Like, maybe that's what they're going for at this point, just to meme on everyone else.
Yeah,
we'll definitely see getting into this game.
It's definitely interesting, because you could even say Powerhouse, they're just like, you know what, maybe we just purposely don't show up against the small teams, so that when we go up against the big teams and they lose, it just makes the other teams look worse. Like, it's just like this huge ploy by Powerhouse to make all the big teams just look like just so bad. And this was their whole plan. Like, they didn't even want to qualify for the playoffs. Like, this is all they wanted to do. They just want to prove all the big teams wrong. But we are getting ours in the chat, and we are most likely going to be hopping in very, very quickly here. And I think the one thing we have to talk about is Coastline in CCSW has been very attacking favored for some reason. As Coastline in general is actually one of the most 50-50 maps, but if I'm looking at the stats correctly for CCSW, it almost has a 7% favor on the side of the attack. So this is going to be interesting. I don't know if that pattern is going to hold true, because none of these teams, if I'm not mistaken, have played in Coastline before, but we are just going to have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm. So there's a tad bit of a delay. We're trying our best to get you into this map.
Yeah,
so
we are. We're trying.
I mean, this stuff. Yeah. What else is there to talk about right now? I guess Powerhouse, the two we talked about how they beat the two biggest teams, well, biggest. They beat Disrupt, they beat Victoria's Secret. Now they've got, I guess, their final. What's it called? No, they lost against Victoria's Secret. Excuse me, they beat what's it called? Queen Limit. I'm like, my brain's scrambled right now. But this is their final of the top 4, their final challenge, in order to say that they've essentially taken their first, like, what's the word? Their figurative first place in CCSW. Of course, they're not gonna get there, but they can have it in their hearts and maybe in the hearts of the viewers that they've managed to defeat all these amazing teams.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that happens a lot in like college football where teams are like, "Hey, we beat the #1 team. Does that technically make us number one?" It's kind of that same, it's kind of that same situation here for Powerhouse. But going into the ban phase on Coastline, the bans are not as maybe influential on a map like Clubhouse, but they are still very, very influential. And we're going to be seeing a Capitao ban out first. No surprises there. Capitao is just one of those operators you want to get rid of, as well as Blackbeard. Blackbeard has most likely stayed safe through almost all competitive play without getting banned, but I think a big reason teams do ban him is it's just a comfort ban. Nobody likes to peek a Blackbeard, but Mozzie is kind of interesting. This is something we've seen from G2 in the past and also the likes of Empire, so it's not too much of a surprise they're seeing the Mozzie come off the board, but a lot of this is looking almost like kind of comfort bans or direct bans against other players on the other side of the team.
Yeah, this Mozzie ban actually coming out from the side of Powerhouse, if I'm correct, that's actually, I would say it's pretty smart, because the way Artemis play, because I mean, obviously they are, I've said this probably like 8 times, but they're undefeated. That's likely for a reason. These guys have strats and they know how they want to play. Mozzie fits into a lot of defender strats nowadays in the season because of how powerful he is. He's 3 speed, of course. He's just got raw mechanics that are really good to use, but at the same time, he's got really good utility, both information denial and gathering. And then he's also got a C4. There's like nothing bad with him. So Artemis probably has Mozzie in a lot of their starting lineups, or I guess like, yeah, that's what this called. Like, you can call it that, right? Starting lineups.
Yeah.
And taking that out might cripple them in Coastline. Who knows? We'll have to see.
And another thing that I think is overlooked with Mozzie quite a bit, well, not, I wouldn't say overlooked, but a lot of people forget, is the fact that with that C4, not only does he gather a lot of intel from potentially hacking drones, but he has also just the intel from potentially putting those drones in positions where a plant is going to come out, and he could be below, or somebody else with a C4 could be below and deny plant. The best denial to a plant is either killing the planter or an echo drone, and a C4 kills the planter. So it's always just something you love to see from the defense. It's like one of those things where if you play your cards correctly with a C4 and you use your utility properly, it's going to be almost impossible to plant, especially on a site like this on Coastline. Because if you can't gain control of blue bar downstairs and you have the likes of Valkyrie, like we see right now, sitting downstairs, it's going to be very, very hard to get that plant down. And it's also going to be very, very hard to even get that initial push into sight. And it looks like we are going to be seeing a little bit of a delay. So the stream actually is 2 minutes ahead of us. So the stream knows what happens before we know what happened. But I guess we're just going to continue with how things are going at the moment.
That is interesting. Usually it's the other way around, but okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so this, oh, I see. So I think I'm getting word from our producers that this, so, oh boy, all right, let's not, this information does not need to be divulged to the viewers, but it's fine. So everything's okay. The stream is technically not ahead. Someone's behind, but it's gonna be all right. So all good with that case.
All right, perfect. But we are going to be seeing the initial, I guess, push here from the side of the attack, just getting their drones into specific spots. And the problem we've seen with Powerhouse week in and week out has been time management, and the fact that you are almost reaching that halfway point in the round and there hasn't really been much contention onto Artemis or absolutely any map control in favor of the attacking team is definitely alarming. And we are going to see the first kill is going to go in favor of Light. That's going to be your Thatcher off of the board. So goodbye to those EMP grenades and goodbye to a very, very useful piece of the attack. And that has been a great start already for Artemis. And once again, time management is looking to be an issue that is going to be on the horizon for this Powerhouse team, because they are taking quite a lot of time to get into this building.
Yeah, Swag taking out these drones as well, looking for some shots into Master Bedroom, taking some damage. Alyssa actually gets a pick on a light, so that's the top frag. Well, like it's obviously in this case she's got a 1, and there's only one on the team. But like just in general, a really good fragger for the side of Artemis, taking off the board early. That's okay. 2 minutes in the round, I guess it's better to take her off earlier than later. But at least she's gone for now. Swag at about 30 health, so health advantage in terms of what Powerhouse has in their favor, but got a good angle, and I don't think they know that she's actually in this position right now. So if she waits long enough, if she's patient enough, and they don't have any more drones, this might prove to be a problem. As you saw, she was taking out, I think she took out like 2 or 3 drones earlier, just in her roam by herself. So still a good spot, and time is dwindling pretty quickly for the attacking side.
Yeah, we're down to 30 seconds now, and you still have so many roamers on the board. This Valkyrie sitting here is able to find 1, and that's exactly what we were expecting. Swag could potentially find another, but it's going to walk right past. But just like that, she's able to find it, and Maddie Elizabeth goes down, making it a 4v2. Twitch and Gridlock are going to be your last on the board, and once again, time management. It is such an issue for Powerhouse in a 4v1 with 8 seconds left, and you don't even have the bomb in your hand. This is all but over for the side of Powerhouse, and this was a great first round for Artemis. And just like that, almost a flawless round for them. The only casualty being Light on the side of Artemis. Overall, that's definitely a good tempo setter for the defending side.
Great start out. Of course, they get the first pick. They get responded on in kind, but that took a while. And then all that time being wasted by that, I guess it's not technically one person, but wasted for that 1 kill. That's all they could have gotten. And then all the other drones that got destroyed, all the utility that got used and taken out, in which case Lady Dragonslayer actually fell first. That didn't help very much. All that added up to Powerhouse not having any more pushing power, and they just all fell 1 by 1, especially the Valkyrie. Very good play by, if I'm correct, it was... I already forgot. I apologize. But the Valkyrie... Swag, yes. Thank you. Swag in the middle of 90 hallway, just rotating around, getting all the frags. Interesting that there was no communication after the first kill happened onto VIP. There was a player droning. Maddie, unfortunately, was not aware of the push from 90 hallway into theater, so she got taken down as well. At that point, the round is virtually lost. There was, 15 seconds left. Not really much of a chance to get 4 frags out of 2 people, unless they all lined up for you, and that's just not going to happen with Artemis.
Yeah, and another thing that I think is a really big issue for Powerhouse is we were talking about time management, but another thing is what they do with their time. As you can look back at that round and you say, they had drones here, they had drones there, they had drones here, and they wasted about 1 minute and 30 seconds just trying to drone out, and it really didn't amount to anything, because at the end of the day, it was the Valkyrie who was sitting in 90 that never got droned out that basically completely turned the round on its head. And the fact that you put... as my dog is very excited, you put so much time into just trying to get intel on the other players and it doesn't even work out, that's just a major problem on the side of Powerhouse.
We'll see if they can fix that coming up. Look at how scared they are. This is kind of unusual. You don't usually see the players like Alyssa, Maddie being this afraid, but they're watching out for spawn peaks. That's 30 seconds that they just look at windows. And of course, you have to do that in competitive, right? You always have to be ready for just about anything. But that long, that's about 1/6 of the round gone, and there's no headway into the like the bomb site, the building at all right now. And all the defenders are sitting pretty. They don't really have to do anything. They're just chilling. And there's a couple drones for a clean feed might have just crashed. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Did we just... I don't know what we just saw.
We're having some technical issues. We apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't necessarily know if you guys see the game, but right now we have just a nice black screen. So we do apologize for the technical issues, and we are trying to get it back addressed. I'm back in now, I think. I'm at the 37 mark of round number 3.
It's 1-1.
Yes. Is that where you are at as well?
I'm really ahead of you. I'm at 16-15.
All right. Oh, I'm back. No, I'm at 16-15 now too. We apologize. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. That's just, it's NA. You expect technical difficulties. I mean, this is part of the show, guys. Come on. But we are going to be seeing now, down to the, well, we're actually joining the prep phase of the 3rd round, so we didn't miss too much. And Light is definitely dominant on this roaming role, and once again, we are going to be seeing her on this roaming role. And I'm expecting more of the same of what we saw before, where she was on Jaeger last time around. Vigil was just kind of almost his Jaeger, but different utility and maybe a comparable gun. And just you play it almost exactly the same. And this, just based on the operators being used and just based on the playstyle, Artemis isn't looking not like unlike themselves, but they definitely aren't trying to show too much in this type of situation.
And they did. It was unfortunate that they were technical difficulties because the round was brought back. Powerhouse won the second round after being almost flawless on the first. So us casters, we didn't get to see it. It's NA, it happens. But I'm definitely curious to see how this match is going to progress going on. If they can take a round back and stop momentum that quickly, or just the fact that momentum maybe just doesn't affect them at all. This is going to be a great match to watch.
Oh, 100%. The fact that after an almost flawless round, you're able to bring one back just as a major confidence booster. And that's something that's overlooked in Siege and something I always talk about is confidence in your mentality going into a game can really affect how you play. If you go into a game thinking you're going to lose or thinking you're not going to win your gunfights, you're probably not going to win your gunfights. If you go into a game thinking, hey, I got this, guys, focus up, next play mentality, you might not be guaranteed to win, but you're going to have a much higher chance. And during the development of a game, your mentality can flip back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And depending on how kind of strong your mental game is, can really influence an entire round, an entire match, and basically could be the difference of winning and losing. And that is a really good sign so far from Powerhouse, as we are going to be seeing another good sign as Swag goes down. That's one of the very valuable roamers, and also a 416 off of the board, as Light could potentially find one, is going to get the down onto the Jackal, but is going to be potentially fragged out, and instead of confirming the kill, just decides to leave as Nomad was lurking behind.
Wise choice, playing her life. Now the Jackal on the attacking side is basically one shot from death from any weapon on the defending team. No more downs for her, and there she goes. Oh, and that's not even her. That's Lady Dragonslayer on the Thatcher going down. So still health advantage. Man advantage is even for this time being, but 30 seconds means that this actually favors the defenders. The attackers have to find some way into the bomb site or get every single frag, and that's definitely going to be a very hard task, as we see the Maestro actually hold up in the bathroom ready. There's a gap in that smoke too. She's ready for any push through that delivery doorway. This doesn't look very promising. Free Fire's coming out. She might have missed the kill actually, but the Maestro can's gonna be pinging through the smoke. Frag from Madeline. One more for Light as well, and Maddie goes down. Diffuser is on the floor. Artemis just a shutout. 4 frags. A flurry hit the end of that round. Beautiful hold from them. And yet again, just like round 1, this is why it was so sad I didn't get to see round 2.
Yeah.
Because this happened very similarly to the one we did see, in which the time was dragged down way far. There were 30 seconds left, and that's when the site execute started happening. And of course, at that point, you don't have time to clear utility, to bait C4s, to bait smokes, or anything. You're just going to be taking damage in your own smokes. You saw that I'm correct, the Jackal pushed in through the delivery doorway with the smoke, so they tried to execute, but they were Meister cams that could see straight through them. There were defending smokes, toxic babes from the smoke on Artemis' side, so none of that's fun. You don't want to have to deal with that in the last 10 seconds of the round, and they just couldn't. There was no way. Legion Minds even getting one of the final 2 kills, and Artemis shutting that round down pretty decisively.
Yeah, it was almost a direct copy of round number 1, and it really makes you think what happened in round number 2, because it just seemed as if Artemis have been in complete control from what we have seen. But obviously, round number 2, that is, was completely different. And I really want to know what Powerhouse did differently that time around to give that round to themselves. Looking at the scoreboard, though, I see that Maddox does have... not Maddox, my fault. Maddie Elizabeth does have 4 kills. And in the first round, she didn't have any. So I'm guessing a 4K from Maddie Elizabeth definitely helped them in that second round, and that's probably what got them to that 1-1 scoreline. But it doesn't matter too much anymore, as it is going to be 2-1. And something we've been talking about a lot is time, because the defenders, yes, it's a 5v5, but they always have a 6th man until that diffuser comes down. If that diffuser comes down, then time is obviously in favor of the attackers. But so far, it's always been in favor of the defenders. It's been 15 seconds left. Like you said, can't bait out utility, can't really orchestrate a really effective push when you have time just breathing down your neck. And unfortunately for Powerhouse, that has been an issue through and through this season. It's been every single time you watch them, you see that, hey, they need to pick up the pace here, here, and here. And it starts to get better as the rounds develop, but because this is a best of one league, they don't have that opportunity to come back in maybe the second map and things like that. They just need to be able to adapt a little bit quicker, pick up the pace a little bit, and get rounds here and there and get the aggression early on. And that could easily help them going forward in a match like this.
Yeah, yet again, like you see, 1 minute off the board and nothing has happened yet.
Yeah.
They found the Maestro. That's, I guess, progress. They've got some kind of information. But this guy's on site. He's probably going to be staying there for the majority of this round, not going to be moving. He's got bodyguards basically all over the place. Smoke playing inside of A site. We've got Wolfie at the top of blue stairs. I mean, that information's basically lost. And of course, now with the Jackal nerf, those footsteps will be gone. That's, I mean, I guess that's not really the most important thing because, again, it is on site. But
yeah.
That's one Jackal scan gone. The roamers that might not get found out. This is a good start. Lady Dragon Slayer gets an opening pick instead of an opening death this time. So 1 minute 20. They still have time ample on the board, but Madeline does respond onto that in kind. And Maddie is also unfortunately lit to about 20 health as well.
Yeah, as we see, Light goes down first. Typically, with how the rounds have developed, when Light goes down first, she finds herself with a kill as well. But this time around, she didn't find the kill. It's going to be Madeline is able to find 2 and kind of split the difference. And she could potentially find 3, but she's just going to be shooting blanks through the wall. And unfortunately, Elisa is going to be escaping with about 50 health, waiting for the flank from Swag as the Jackal has picked up on the scent here. But just like that, Twitch shuts down that and is going to be a 3v3 and placing a Claymore for safe measures, as you do have 40 seconds now, and this is the most promising attack in terms of time that we have seen from Powerhouse.
Yeah, but this is barely. They have 30, and look at the health advantage on the side of Artemis right now. There's 100 health on virtually every player, and then all the players on Powerhouse are basically one shot. 3 bullets from the side of Madeline could take out every single person, and she's got 80 to spare in 1 magazine. So if they can't get something done, which it doesn't look like they can, Wolfie gets a pick on a Sebastian. 8 seconds, they need to do something. The plant is starting to go down. That is interesting. I don't know where that's taking place, but it's going to be faked. Lysa finally going for the plant, but going to fake off right there as she does get pushed by the smoke. The Legion, nothing more they can really do. And the attackers being so split, there's no cover for that defuse planter as well. So yet again, the time advantage on Artemis' side, smothering Powerhouse. There's nothing they can do if they can't get those picks of those anchors.
Yeah, and you're also seeing from the side of Artemis, that scoreboard is beautiful. Everybody is doing their part. Obviously, Madeline has 5 kills and the rest of the team has 3. But just the fact that everyone's kind of spread out and is doing their job, it speaks volumes to how the hold is working. If a hold works, but maybe somebody got an ace or a 4K, you almost have to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, did we win this round because of the hold was good, or did we win this round because X went absolutely explosive? But we're not seeing that from Artemis. This is 100% just working as a team, looking good. It's not on any individual's shoulders, and that's always what you want to see. That is a good recipe to win, and that's something we've seen from Artemis week in, week out, and it's kind of become a pattern and is again continuing today.
Yeah, something that I actually have to criticize Powerhouse on.
In position.
5 seconds left.
In position. Changing mags.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Activating camera. Evil eye on watching.
New camera feed up and running.
Swapping mags.
Activating camera.
Swapping.
Even if the C4 misses at that point, if there is one, or if a smoke just ticks you twice, you basically go down. So if you're playing those execute setups, if you're playing for plant, health matters, right? Usually it doesn't.
Yes.
Usually if you just headshot people, that's basically it. Speaking of headshots, Wolfie gets one of her own. But in that case, of course, it doesn't matter what health Maddie was at. She's dead anyways. But if you're going to play it so that you have 30 seconds left in the round to go for a plant, sometimes that can work. If you have the flank watch, if you have the coverage, if you have all the utility denial, and you've baited out everything that has to be baited out. But POWERHAUS just isn't doing that. They're just not putting enough pressure on Artemis, onto the site, to be able to get all this stuff out. And yet again, they lose another player to Light. This is not looking good. But a good response from Lissa. And Light does fall, but that's a minute 30 and 2 players off the board for POWERHAUS.
Oh, just like that, though, Lil Sebastian is going to be sneaking in from the north side and is able to take down Swag. And Twitch then, no, I was about to say Thermite's still on the board, but Thermite is dead as Wolfie is able to find a 2-piece for herself. And you have a Nomad and a Twitch on the board, 2 very, very powerful guns, but the problem is you also have a Legion and a Maestro and also Smoke. There's so much utility on the side of Artemis, and it's almost like all the intel is in favor of Artemis. Right now, POWERHAUS is just chasing Phantom Illusions and doesn't seem to know where they want to push from or where they even want to go, but they do still have a minute to work with, just not as many bodies as you would want in these types of situations. This side of Artemis is spread just a little bit thin. You have one in Kitchen, I think that was the Maestro, then you have the Smoke sitting back on the side of I think that was behind the bar, if I'm not mistaken, and then you also have Legion just roaming about in the offices on the south side. But you do have 30 seconds now, so you've wasted 30 seconds from sitting on Cool Vibe stairs and rotating downstairs, and again, this is just way too much time as Smoke is still on the board. This is incredible entry denial, and this is just going to take even longer for this push to initiate as Arus is just playing this to a T, as with 15 seconds left. Oh, can you get the Smoke? And just like that, you are able to find the Smoke there, but 15 seconds now. It's just there's a whole lot of nothing for the side of POWERHAUS. Smoke should be able to get that kill, but Arus gets absolutely shut down. What a shot there from Nomad, and a plant could be coming down. And just like that, you have 1 second left and a retake situation now. Oh, Wolfie goes absolutely huge. He's able to find one, downs the Nomad, and the defenders of Artemis are able to stay alive and not gift another round to POWERHAUS's incredible play from Wolfie. That is a 3K for her technically, as technically it was only 2, but that was a huge kill at the very end.
I just realized, I thought she got down by a goo mine. That would have been very unfortunate, but
Did she, or was it
I think it was the Maestro camp.
Okay. If that was a goo mine, that would have been hilarious.
That would have been really sad. She gets the kill on the Legion and then just gets denied from the afterlife. But no, Madeline, really good play there. She was across the map. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but she made the trek to go disable that diffuser. So 6-1. She is putting up the numbers. Even if Light's 6, Light's not even positive right now, but it doesn't matter. Madeline is picking up the slack, and the rest of the team, even all of them working together. The scoreline being so dominant right now for them, 4-1. They are looking beautiful. Going to Kitchen, which if I'm correct, they have already won on.
Yes,
I think
they have. It was the third round, the one where we came back. They won it.
You're right. So yes, so far, okay, that's even more sad because we haven't seen them. We haven't seen POWERHAUS win around. They have obviously, but we just didn't get to witness what they did right so far.
But you're looking at this game right now, and like you said, where we were kind of coming into this matchup and we were expecting Light to go absolutely huge, but Madeline is the one that I think kind of stealing the show right now, 6-1. The thing with that is right now, everybody on Artemis is a factor, no matter what. Everybody is getting their kills. Everybody is using their utility properly. Everybody is playing a point in this defense. Coastline is it's the most 50-50 map in the pool. So seeing defense win like this, it's not surprising, but it's also not something you really want to see when you're on the side of attack. Because if you're going solely based on statistics, and statistics obviously aren't everything, but if you're going solely based on statistics, it should be 3-3, no matter what going into the half. But right now it's 4-1, so it's significantly in favor of the side of the defense. And if they somehow escape this with a 5-1, that puts the side of POWERHAUS in a really precarious situation where, yes, it's a 50-50 map, but you didn't take advantage of really anything you had on attack, and now you're just going to have to be almost perfect on defense. And with just the way POWERHAUS is playing, there's a lot of mistakes, and if that just gets completely wiped out, which is almost impossible on the side of defense, they could win it, but it's going to be very, very hard. They really need a round here to make it 4-2. Is a little bit more doable than 5-1.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully, right now, they're looking to make that happen. Obviously, changing up the strats a tiny bit. We haven't seen a Montaigne brought just yet by either of these teams, and Powerhouse the first to bring one out. I guess they're kind of desperate at this point. I
Yeah.
did notice a fuse on the second round before the tech cutoff kind of like messed up and our stream cut off, but there was a fuse. I don't know if that played any difference into how the round turned out, but maybe that's something they have to try, some of this unconventional stuff, you know, sending a body in instead of a drone. This guy can't just be shot with one bullet and taken out.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll prove some fruit, but they're just, okay, they're just going for a defuse plant. This could work. It's about 2 seconds off from being activated. No, not quite. Arus with a clutch little
wow.
smoke there. Okay,
What?
that's a bit of chaos. A team kill with a claymore, but at least it gets an enemy, I guess. Sebastian with a frag and a light as well, making this happen for their team. Knows that there's another player in bathroom, but runs out of ammunition before she can finish the frag. Madeline gets away with a sliver of her life, and it's still a 3 versus 2. But there's no Doc on the defending team, and resets aren't a thing just yet. Who's gonna win out this engagement? It's gonna be Wolfie, and Sebastian falls. That might have been their only hope to take another round on their attacking side. 1 minute left. There is a very, very lit player on the defending team, but you gotta be kidding me if anyone thinks that Artemis is gonna give this round up.
Yeah, this is almost 100% in the favor of Artemis. You still have a Legion and a Smoke on the board, which is great. Not only intel with the Legion, but just also great entry denial with both the Smoke and the Legion. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Smoke has at least 1 canister left, 2 of which were used to kill the Monty and the planter. And it's just unfortunate for Powerhouse there. They got so close to getting that plant down, but it was just, I think it was milliseconds separating them from a retake situation to a 1v3 situation that we're seeing right now. As we do see the Legion just sitting out behind the desk. Is going to hear the Nomad, but unfortunately is going to pre-fire the wrong corner. It's just going to be a game of rain around the rosy. Who's going to come out on top here? But with 7 seconds left, no matter what, Artemis is going to be coming out on top, as you cannot plant in this time. And just like that, Powerhouse running out of time once again. And the only thing we can say to them is just to keep their head on straight. That round was very chaotic and very unfortunate, and also didn't go in their favor, and that can do numbers to a team's mental game. And right now, Powerhouse just need to stay focused. It's not left, it's not right, but it's forward right now for Powerhouse, and they just need to just look at this change of half, change of scenery, and maybe capitalize on it and hope to get a couple rounds here and make this a game.
It is definitely very unfortunate for them so far, but we got to give some commendations to Artemis there. That play, if I'm correct, if I did the math right, that smoke would not have actually killed the planter by itself. There was a player in bathroom that helped the smoke out with a crossfire. Obviously, the Monty went down to the smoke after a couple ticks, but the player in bathroom chimed in with a couple shots of her own and put some bullets into the defuse planter, and that was likely what actually brought the player low enough so that the smoke could take her down.
Yeah.
So very well played by the side of Artemis. Good teamwork there. And yeah, just after that, there might have been a chance, but then the Claymore trade was kind of awkward. If the
That
Claymore
just hurts.
didn't trade, then that would be a round on. But after that point, just so far Powerhouse have not been showing us the prowess even to win like even man count scenarios. So winning a round in that case where you're down a man, or I guess in this case down a woman, that's just a bit too much to ask in this case. But they're gonna have to pull out something sweet from their sleeves if they have anything else on defense. I mean, it's a kind of a different game. Siege is one of those titles that is pretty, like, it depends on what the individual player or the team is comfortable with, and hopefully for Powerhouse's side, they're a better defending team than attacking team.
Yeah.
Because like you said, a lot of the time, Henry, this map is one of the most balanced in our map pool. This does not look that way from the scoreline.
This definitely does not look balanced so far. Where you typically see a 3-3, we're seeing a 5-1. And in a situation like this, against a team like Artemis, Powerhouse are looking at a task that is like burying an ocean. It is so difficult to get some momentum here. It is so difficult to just get a couple rounds here, because Artemis can make so many mistakes, and still in 2 rounds they're going to win.
What?
As Wolfie, what? Was that through the floor? Somehow.
Valk was on her cams.
Oh my, that hurts. That really, really hurts. Wolfie has been going absolutely huge these last couple rounds, and just to turn things up a notch and take down a Valkyrie who had a C4 in the back pocket, that just hurts the side of Powerhouse. But that's not going to hurt the side as Light goes down first once again for the side of Artemis. But not too much. Actually, never mind. That's going to be Zofia off the board. So a little bit of utility taken off. I think both stuns and impacts were still up for grabs for the side of the Zofia. And just like that, we see Jaeger was able to shut that down. And now we're kind of seeing Artemis stall out just a little bit of a cold war here as not much is happening. But I think maybe Artemis is just kind of organizing their forces in order to orchestrate the perfect push. As Light from the grave is able to find one onto Lysa. That's going to be the Ella off the board. And a good night in chat as, that's well deserved.
Goofy. That's a bit. I don't know if that's completely warranted. You didn't do any work mechanically, but I guess like good placement by the Claymore. Probably saved a teammate there as well. So
Yeah.
good play by her. There's a minute left. 2 picks. Not much site presence, but you can hear the smokes going down, and the defuse is starting to commence. That one's probably going to get this down. There's no response right now from the defending team, and now it's a post plant. Now, man advantage once more for the side of Artemis. Dragon Slayer is going to go for a run out after Elizabeth gets a frag on a Madeline, so one of the covers no longer in play, but the run out denied by a Nomad, and she knows better than to go for that again. Good peek by Maddie Elizabeth. Another headshot in a roost, and one more, but a whiff. Swag gets the kill on a Dragon Slayer, and now 2 versus 2. They have the information, but I'm not sure if they know that Never is on this defuser. She's going to try to stick it, but not going to happen. Wolfie through the floor once again. 2 frags just through the floor. Oh, I didn't even know that you could do that. Is that...
Oh. Is that the
machine
they're using to defuse?
Yeah, because it's technically like a little like... It's a
Wow.
beep boop device, right? That's not... I don't know. Okay. It's probably not the best word to describe it.
It is a beep boop device. That is what... Yes.
That's what IQ can see.
I did not know that, actually. Wow, okay, the more you know. Well, Wolfie, just like that, is going absolutely huge once again. And on to match point goes Artemis. The team sitting at number 1 is looking like they are going to stay there and also pad their round count just a bit. Just for a second, I hope we can go back to the scoreboard because I want to see just one thing as Glaz is going to be chosen here from Light.
Hello?
This is... interesting as Glaz, the Glaz Yin meta. Oh, that was very quick. The Glaz Yin meta, it died out fairly aggressively. But I just wanted to quickly look over this. Yeah, so Wolfie at the top here with 9 kills. We've seen her do this before. There was, I think, week 4, she dropped 18 kills in a 8-round game. So it was a 7-1 victory it was a 9-round game. So it was a 7-2 victory, and she dropped 18 kills. So that's 2 rounds, 2 kills a round, and she's kind of doing the same thing here. Obviously not at the exact same scale, but she is putting her team on her back. Her team's helping her just a little bit more than the game where she got 18 kills, but nonetheless, she's playing out of her mind right now. And she's also put her team on the match point. So 1 round away here from just kind of sitting pretty is Artemis, and if Powerhouse can really just change almost everything right now, then you could maybe see this change into a more close game. But right now, if you're a betting man, you're putting your money on Artemis.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. So quickly on the window as well. I don't know if this is their plan entirely, but bringing the Glaz, I would have thought that they had expected a kitchen hold. Of course, that's not going to happen, but she can still be used. She can fire off at her own will. And the smoke's actually going to get denied, but she's got a great gun and some good angles, good scope. Ooh. She's going to take 1 down right there. Alyssa's off the board, no more bandit. Good night from Light once again. Good to starting.
That she was still moving. How did she?
Yeah, that's the point.
Did you saw that? You saw that too? That has to be like...
That was
the quickest. That was the quickest good night I've ever seen. That's
actually insane.
That's a highlight. But we are now reaching that 2-minute mark, and Bandit already being off the board. I don't know if Bandit did have a C4 in the back pocket, but nonetheless, it's just a really powerful gun off the board, as Bandit has in many situations with that MP7 has been really, really strong. But Wolfie, once again, looming below. She was influential, very influential last time around, and it's looking like she is trying to replicate that once again. But, they say lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, but it definitely could in this situation.
You gotta hope, right? She's gonna be lurking down here, and they're not looking like they're gonna challenge her anytime soon. Dragon Slayers are watching for this flank, so it just looks like she wants to play passive and wait for the IQ to push up the stairs. But as we all know, she can do enough of her own work downstairs. She doesn't need to actually be able to see the attackers, as Light gets a little blink of Never. And once again, if I'm correct, Never is actually not on the board right now. I don't know if that's foreshadowing that the fact that we're never going to see another James Bond movie, but yeah, it's kind of hectic. Maddie gets a frag, but the defuser is planted, and the last defender outside detected, and Nomad charged. Not looking very promising. Guessing all the flanks are being covered by drones as well, and this is just basically a done round. Unfortunate for the side of Powerhouse, but very, very well played by Artemis. And unfortunately, yet again, I mean, at least they gave Never one more death, so that doesn't entirely mean that we'll never see another 007 movie. But, yeah, so, oh god, she's being shot through the wall. This is just inhumane. This isn't even, what? She's got no chance. At least let her live, right?
Yeah, yeah, just at least
Oh,
let
no.
her escape with her pride, but unfortunately she is not going to be escaping with her pride, as Light with the pistol is able to shut it all down. And GG's coming out in the chat as Artemis once again improved their record to 8-0. One more week left. Next week they are going up against the side of Slaughterhouse in efforts to have the perfect season.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's just, there's no words. It's just gross. Powerhouse, like, why? How is it the fact that the one round Powerhouse wins, us observers
get to see.
like, we don't, like, that's just mean. Like, I want to see them win. I feel bad for them. But I mean, yeah, again, very well played by Artemis. Great defenses, and I guess we can say great attacks. We didn't see very many. There were only 2. They didn't need to have very many attacks to make the round or take the map in their favor. So unfortunately for them, or fortunately for them, they have one game left to play before they can call the season completely done and dusted and perfect. I don't know what else anyone can say to them. This team is just looking completely dominant, and they're stomping absolutely everyone they're playing. I don't think so. There have been a couple 7-4s, and the only team that's taken them the distance is Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
With an 8-7. They still won that map.
Yeah.
What else is there? There are no more words to describe how mind-blowing this team's performance has been during the season.
Yeah, and I think someone who also wants to talk about the mind-blowing performance is going to be Brimstone, as Brimstone joins us once again. So Brimstone, I mean, what's your reaction to that?
You know what? My reaction is Artemis played a fantastic game. I was really hoping Powerhouse would do more, and I come from the point of view of that of they've shown how good they can be.
Yes.
It's just unfortunate that they don't always have that consistency to show it. I don't know with how the way Artemis played. I don't know if even if Powerhouse brought their A game, if it would have been enough to counter that, because Artemis had a great game there. They were just on point with everything. But I mean, it's, as we keep saying, it sucks that we missed that one round that they did win. But from all the other rounds, they just didn't have it in place to the level that we know that they've shown that they can bring it. And I think that game could have been a lot better, but unfortunately just falling a little short there on the side of Powerhouse, at least from what I was viewing. Were there, I'll throw it to you, Henry, were there any moments that you did see, even in any of those round losses, that you thought maybe Powerhouse was showing us that they had something to compete with?
I mean, the thing is with Powerhouse, it really comes down to one simple problem. It's their time management. Their gun skill's fine. Their idea of how to push is fine. Their entire, basically, basis, their foundation as a team is fine. It's just the problem we're seeing, time management. And time management is an absolute team killer. No matter how good you are, you could be the G2 in absolutely everything, but if you suck at time management, it doesn't really matter. And that's what we saw over and over and over again. Maybe if we saw Powerhouse starting on defense first, it would have been a different story. But looking at the attacks from Artemis with those 2 rounds that we saw, and also we didn't get to see a Roos on Thatcher, and she's the best Thatcher in North America, it doesn't really, you weren't really maybe even expecting much in that kind of scenario, even if they started on defense first. It was just a time management issue on attack. It was kind of just maybe a mental issue on defense. Overall, there's there's a foundation for that team, and it's a really strong foundation. They have the fraggers, they have the supports, they have the flexes, they have everything they need. They just got to put the pieces together. Unfortunately, with only 1 week left, it's just taking too much time to put those pieces together.
Well, on the bright side, even though they are mathematically out of it now, as you say, they have the pieces. Hopefully this team decides to stick together beyond this season as well. Really, you know, pick apart maybe the issues in their game and bring it together, and they might come back next season for being the powerhouse that they can be. Pun intended there. But speaking of time management, we are going to flip to a quick 5-minute break here. Stick around. When we come back, we're going to be going with Outdeuced and Victoria's Secret, which will be a good matchup. We'll see you in just a few minutes.